What's up? This is MC Lars. You are listening to Journey into Comics. You!
And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, a podcast about comic books, video games, movies, television, and everything nerd with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stowe.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Journey into Comics, episode 111. I am your host, Nate. Today, it wouldn't be Journey into Comics if I didn't have my co-host with me. Brando, how's it going?
It's going pretty damn good.
That's awesome, man. We've been kind of catching up before the show started a little bit and bullshitting here and there, but you know what we actually did a really great job at? We didn't even touch on any of the things on today's rundown.
No.
And that was actually kind of miraculous, you know. But anyways, how are you doing, man?
Okay, I guess, yeah.
That's good. You're on a little vacation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like whenever I have vacation, it seems like I've got to do stuff to the house. So it's not necessarily a vacation as much as it is take time off work to get work done.
That's life, man. That's just, I mean, that's the way it goes, you know. But
that's adulting.
It is. It really is adulting, and adulting is such horse shit. But man, I tell you what, this is a cool week, though. Not only are we doing Journey into Comics tonight, it's a random Wednesday night. It's raining outside. But in like 2 days, I'm going to see your face in my house. And like, you're going to be here.
I might see your face, but if you stand conveniently when I have my right eye shut with my left eye, and if you stand conveniently into my upper right quadrant, I'm not sure how you're going to like do that, but I might not see you.
So if I'm floating on the ceiling to the right of you,
yeah,
I'm going to John Cena the shit out of this week. You won't be able to see me. See what I did there? No. That was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful, but so I mean, you know, man, it's fun because like we aren't actually doing Journey into Comics this week when we're together. We've got other things planned, as we've mentioned a couple times, and I think we figured this would be a good time to get at least some kind of an episode out. We don't know what we're going to do yet. It's early in the evening. But you know what? Let's just get right into it, Brando. Did you hear about this Stanley news that I mentioned?
No.
Okay, so I get to inform you of a thing. Kevin Feige today came out and said sometime in August, so I would probably middle August, end August. It just, you know, you could probably figure it out if you looked at, you know, when he made appearances. But apparently they had Stanley go to Atlanta, and he filmed his next 4 Marvel cameos all in a row in a day. And the thing is that he did this, and I kind of feel like they might know something that we don't. Like, you know, Stanley's 93 years old, Brando. I don't know. What do you think about that? Are they planning the untimely? I mean, I guess you can't really say untimely, but I mean, he's fucking old. Let's be real here.
The eventual death of Stanley.
Correct. You know, what I mean is this something that, are they just like going, well, we just had an opportunity to get him done? I will say that they mentioned that none of the cameos are like just random to have him cameo. Everything has a purpose. So what do you think the reasoning is that they did this? Is it like I said, I mean, is the clock striking midnight for Stan Lee this year or something? 2016 has been a son of a bitch.
It might have just been something to do with scheduling and saying, hey, we can have so and 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 so in Atlanta on this weekend. What's Stan doing? And you know, obviously, if they didn't think Stan can do it, then he wouldn't do it. Stan can't read anymore, so I mean, anything in smaller print he can't read. He can't even read comics anymore, is from what I'm hearing. But you know, he either has made or is making his final convention appearances right now, so he's not going to be doing that anymore. It's obviously apparent that he's not going to be traveling a whole lot. You know, at 93 years old, he's always been with it and there. It's almost like he is like the male version of Betty White, just won't quit. But I mean, eventually, man, you got to slow down. And when you're that old, I don't even think I'm ever going to hit 93. So,
I mean, I kind of hope so. My goal's to hit 100, bro. I kind of need you around at least that long. I'm just saying.
well, I mean, by then we might have hit 294. So,
Ooh, I like the reference. I'm sure we'll hit 294 at some point. And interestingly enough, we'll figure out what we actually do when that episode hits. Maybe it'll just never happen. We'll just skip 294 and it'll go 293, 295. Sorry, the other one was lost. No, but that one's 294. You just changed the number. No, I didn't.
no, I didn't.
No, I didn't. Or maybe we just fucking, people will forget about episode 111 by then. Maybe we could just fucking do an episode where, like, we just sketch on us firing you from the show. And then in, like, the last 5 minutes, you come back and make, like, a extravagant return, I don't know, fucking, I'm just riffing.
It would be really funny if we could do that and keep, like, the storyline going for, like, 20 episodes.
Oh, man.
Where you just move on, and then all of a sudden it's like, the next episode, it's like, I'm hosting, and just don't even explain it.
That would be great. Oh, man, that's such a great idea. Also, listeners, I'm so sorry. This week you're going to have to hear my awful voice with these sniffles. I have a cold, damn early fall cold. It went from like 89 degrees and hot as fuck out to like 7. And it's already, winter is coming. But anyways, so let's continue on. Another thing you got to think of with Stanley, and I wanted to mention this, Brando. For Marvel movies, you think like a couple years ago, like let's say 2008, if we said he filmed his next 4 Marvel movies, that's like 4 or 5 years into the future. This is all within the next year. These cameos are going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think he probably filmed one for Guardians, for Thor, for Spidey, and I can't remember his Black Panther before they screwed up the whole schedule. I don't even know what comes out anymore. So did I say Guardians 2? Probably. I don't.
Mm-hmm. That was the first one you said.
Yeah, Guardians 2, Thor, Spidey, and there's a 4th one. It's not Strange. I'm sure he had that. I mean, maybe it was Doctor Strange. Hell, I don't know. But you got to think those movies are all coming out by next year. So his 4 cameos, it's not hard, I guess, is what I'm saying. And it's not.
See, and that could have been it too. As to why they did all of them so quickly is like these movies are coming out. They now have what, 3 in 1 year?
3 in a year, and competing with a DC that's getting up to 2 and almost 3 in a year.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so it's for them to be able to do all that. If they want to have a Stanley cameo, if he's not going to travel a whole lot, then let's knock him out. Let's make it to where all the schedules are going to work and knock him out, and then that's now a year worth of cameo almost.
Do you know what I think would be super amazing? And it's not going to happen, but a boy can dream. Is that if by some chance Marvel gets the Fantastic Four back, which could happen, it's not impossible. And it would be really interesting to me if at some point in the Infinity War saga or afterwards, if they had Stan Lee like this year, but this is many years down the road. Most likely he will be gone by then. I hope not, but let's just be real. If they made him the Watcher, that would be like, because he's been in all the movies, he's always been watching. He's always been interacting with every single person, like just subversively in different spots, And then like for them to have the big reveal that he's actually been the Watcher the whole time, and they just like, I don't know, that'd be really interesting to me, I think.
That was kind of like the theory that Bruce Campbell was Mysterio in the original Spider-Man trilogy.
I loved that theory, Brando. I wanted that to be true. I championed that. I was like, oh my God, that's genius. In the first one, he's the ring announcer. In the second one, he's the waiter. I think in the third one, he's like a valet or some shit. I don't remember. Or
he's the usher, or like, the ticket guy for the play.
Correct. Yeah.
No, wait.
That was the second one.
Second one was the play, and the third one he was the waiter because he had the ring. And
That's right. Yep. And then it would have been awesome for him to be revealed as Mysterio. That's really bizarre that we brought up Mysterio. I saw a custom pop this week, and this is a beautiful segue. I saw a custom pop this week, Brando. Somebody made a Mysterio pop, and it was like beautiful. They had like this pearlescent thing that made it look like there was smoke in the head of the pop. And I was always curious, like, man, if Funko ever tries to do that, how are they gonna? It's not really possible. But this person really pulled it off, made it look cool. And then,
so the Funko's never made a Mysterio pop?
correct.
Wow, that's actually surprising.
There are many of the Spider-Man rogues that have not been made into pops. Actually, I think as far as Spider-Man rogues right now, we only have Carnage, Venom, Anti-Venom, Doc Ock, and Goblin. And then there was the movie Electro from the second Spider-Man. But that I would not consider a comic book rendition. Oh, and Morbius.
Okay.
One more, but they haven't done like no Shocker, no Rhino, no Scorpion, no Mysterio, no Craven, no Chameleon. I could go for days on Spider-Man rogues.
That is very surprising, considering like how many general like Marvel pops that there are.
Way too fucking many. Let's just talk about it, Brando. I realized something interesting about myself, and I figured I'd share it with everybody on the show, and I'd share it with you, and then I can get your thoughts. I know what drives me to collect, and this is maybe something I've had a revelation about on the show before, but I can't recall if I ever have. But recently I have, okay, so let me take you even further back into the past as a collector. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away in Hoopston, I was dating this girl, and I didn't have a job at the time because I was a kid, and she wanted to go to the movies, and I didn't have any fucking money, and you don't ask your dad for money to go to take your girlfriend to the movies. You just don't do it. You got to man up and figure it out. So, like a fucking idiot, I sold my entire set of Pokemon cards for $25. I had originals of every first gen Pokemon and second gen, the first print of their card, not the first editions necessarily, but like if it was first appeared in the base set, I had the base set of it, and I had some of the cool promo cards and whatnot. And for some reason, I squirreled some doubles and stuff away at Dad's house. And recently I found them, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to start collecting Pokemon cards again. I'm going to go get my old collection back, which is proven a lot easier than I thought, actually, because everyone thinks they're going to make a lot of money right now selling Pokemon cards, so they're really cheap. I'm just like, cool, benefit me. But I realized in recollecting these things and putting them in order and taking my time to organize them how I organize them, that the only reason I collect anything is because it's where I feel I have the most control in my life. In this world we live in this place we live in where there are clearly villains running for president of the United States and there's just terrible things happening all over the world, it's the one spot where I feel utterly in complete control. No one can take it away from me. No one can, someone might come in my room and fuck with the pop wall or whatever and move pops around. Doesn't matter. I can fix it. And it's just keeping order. And I'm like the watcher of the order. And when I realized that, it was really bizarre because, like, why do I enjoy collecting so much? And then it comes to, and this is the full circle moment here, I also collect because it's putting pieces of my childhood that I fondly gaze upon in my life and think about, man, I remember those awesome moments when I was a kid and I liked the Ninja Turtles, or when I liked, Batman the Animated Series or whatever, or Pokemon or whatever. All these different things. It's helping me to heal because when I was very young at 8, well, I guess that's not super young, parents got divorced, and it fucks a kid up in some ways, and it's like being a collector now, I'm putting the puzzle back together and figuring me as a person out. And I think that's really weird. But it's kind of just like this little epiphany I had, like why I collect. And I just, I didn't know if you had a similar or different thought on why you collect.
Well, I mean, it's all about what we collect. And, it is a little bit different because, I primarily collect video games. When we started this, me coming on the show, you started the show because you were collecting comic books at the time. Not
Yeah.
just Walking Dead, you were still tracking down Spider-Mans that you were wanting, still tracking down, like other stuff. And that's a different kind of collecting because for me, when I first started, I told myself I'm going to collect Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1. That's it. And then I'll buy new games. Well, that didn't really happen. Part of it is the same. It's the nostalgia. It's my childhood. When I think about my childhood, those are the two systems that were like very iconic for me. It was the Super Nintendo and it was the PlayStation 1. To a lesser extent, the PS2. I was older then, but those are the two systems.
I mean, you and I
Ironic.
bonded with the PS1.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at my PS1 collection, it is by far my biggest one. I mean, and it doesn't take up nearly as much space as like some of my other collections because of the CD cases, but it definitely, you can look at it, and I have games in there that you're going to look at me and go, dude, why do you have these EA Sports games from 98? And I said, well, I already had 5 of them. I might as well get the rest of the run from 98. It's not because I have a desire to play NASCAR 98, but it was like some guys like, hey, I got NASCAR 98. I'm like, EA? Yeah, I'm like, I want it because I want to get that whole 98 set because I already had some of them. So that's my segue into another part. Some of it is completionist. Like for example, for the longest time, I had season 1 of Yu Yu Hakusho on DVD. This is before I started collecting games. I got that at Walmart. Every once in a while, usually once a year, they just put out anime stuff at Walmart. And it's your typical. There's Dragon Ball. There's Cowboy Bebop. The movie typically is out. Akira will be there. Full Metal Alchemist. It's a lot of the bigger titles over the last, 15 years. And I remember one year they had the first season of Yu Yu Hakusho, and I really enjoyed that show when it was coming out here in the States, and I wanted to own it because I never got to finish it. I never finished the show during its run. So I bought that season, and I'm like, they're going to have the other ones. I'm sure of it. And then I never found them. So I went out of my way on Amazon to order them and pay more for them than way more than I paid. Like I did not pay Walmart prices for them. I paid Amazon anime DVD prices for them. But it was because it bugged me. I only have one season of this. And this is a series that I want to have. I have to complete it. It's like, to some extent, and it's very weird because to some extent, like I'm not like that for the pops. It's like I have Luke Skywalker pop. I'm cool.
Just need a Luke.
It's like maybe I'll track down another one. But then I have the Dragon Ball set. I have the full original run of the Dragon Ball set, not the variants, but I have the original Dragon Ball Z set.
9 to 14.
9 to 14. And then that's cool, but like I wanted to complete that. I have the TNG set minus the Klingon, and you know what? I always said I don't need that damn Klingon. I have the Klingon that matters. I got Worf. But now I sometimes I look at it and go, if I find that Klingon again, I've got $8 to spend. I'm buying that damn Klingon.
There you go.
And it's not something that like bugs me too much. But if he's still cheap, what really bugs me, dude, is that all right? I have the Mass Effect pops. I got Shepard and I got Tali. Okay, that's my romance for Mass Effect 2 and 3. That is my couple. Those two, Shepard and Tali.
Yeah.
They have Miranda. She's still attainable, Garrus. Okay, he's $10. Grunt. He's like $40 now.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Well, I can tell you why, and it's really stupid, but Grunt's one of the ones that they only printed or they only produced maybe 20,000 of, and collectors keep it. It's not something that people sell. You know what I never see on any of the sites? Anything Mass Effect. No one sells them. If you have them, you fucking keep them. They're yours. They're your prized possession. So
Mass Effect is a very niche collector thing. Like a collector market. There are stuff that they do make a lot of. If you go onto the BioWare website, there's stuff that they're still making and selling to this day. But then there's going to be those things that they only made so many of, or they only did this. And because it's so limited, they make it so limited because they know there's only going to be a certain market of people that are buying this. Mike likes Mass Effect, but he's not going to go out and buy every single thing of Mass Effect. He's not like me. I have a lot of things Mass Effect. I don't have as much as even as I want, but that's just it. It's the same thing. But for video games, it's touch and go. It's okay, I mentioned how I want to get all the 98 EA stuff, but I'm not going to track down every variant of Mario 64 that there is, because there's 4 of them. I got the one I got. I'm cool, But sometimes it gets steamrolled into something else. It's like my Final Fantasy IV collection. I have Final Fantasy IV on PS1 and I had it on DS. Okay, cool. And then I ended up getting it on Game Boy Advance, sealed in a box. So now I'm like, well, now I need to find a loose copy of it so I don't have to open the box, because I play all my games. I got one. Cool. Now I just need the Super Nintendo one. Got it. Cool. Now I got every single copy of that game that you can have. It's like everywhere that game is, I own it.
same thing with first Resident Evil, right?
It's sort of that way, yes.
Or
there's
Biohazard.
So many Biohazard. There are so many variants of that. I bought it on PS3 when the remake of the GameCube, or the remaster of the GameCube remake, came out. It didn't get a physical release here at first. It did overseas, so I imported it, where you can flip the cover to be Biohazard or Resident Evil, and you can have English everything on it. So it's very friendly, and PS3 is region free. Cool. I imported it. I paid a little bit more than what, because it sells for $40, and I think I paid $55. And I was cool with that. I'm like, all right, I love this game. And then it got released on the PS4, or it already had been digitally only. But then when Resident Evil 0 came out, they bundled those two together and put them on a single disc and then released it. And it was like, well, shit. But then again, it's like nobody here around me has the copy that I have it, and it's the PS3 version, and it doesn't look any worse than the PS4 version, other than maybe the PS4 version is 1080p. But
don't you love that, by the way? When you have something that's so unique, and you're in a sea of collector friends. Me too. I collect toys and comics and video games, so I'm up against you in video games. Not really up against, but you know what I'm saying. And it's super awesome to have something that's totally one of a kind. That none of your friends are going to have it. Mm-hmm. Now, I have an example for you real quick. Funko has been doing this thing, and it kind of pisses me off a lot, I'll just say, where every Wednesday they release a new Funko shop item. It's an exclusive. It's either a pop, a dorb, I'm trying to think what else they've done. Oh, the Hikari, which is this big ass Japanesey looking statues. They're really awesome. I really like Hikaris, but they're really too expensive. They're $80 for one. And fuck
Ouch.
that. I'm not spending $80 on a plastic statue. I have my limits. So a couple weeks ago, they've been doing this Freddy Funko series. Freddy Funko's the mascot for the company, And they did, the first one was just Freddie Funko holding a Funko sign, and then the second one was like a birthday, and third one was with nerd glasses, and the fourth one was like a superhero. Then there was like an astronaut, and then there was, I don't remember what the seventh or the sixth one was, but then the seventh one was Freddie Funko with a ray gun, and that's cool. And like it was really easy to get. Everybody wanted it, and it was easy to get. You could get it the day it came out in the shop, but you can only get one, and once it's sold out, it's sold out. So Funko screwed up and leaked a picture of last week's shop item, which is this amazing Freddy Funko robot. But it had a different sticker than the other ones because it said it was only limited to 2,000. So it's an ultra limited piece. And it sold out in 3 minutes. And for whatever reason, it never hit the shop page. Like their website messed up. And it didn't post at all, but people figured out how to find it. And I was one of those people, so I have this pop, and it's already on eBay for like $200.
Damn.
Yeah, it literally increased 100% in a week. Like its value has increased by 100%. That's ridiculous.
There is a toy line by Play Arts in conjunction with Square Enix.
Ooh, I have one. I have Cloud.
Mm-hmm. I also have quite a few of them. I have the entire Advent Children set. Well, okay, I should say, sort of. I have Cloud, Tifa, Vincent. It was the original run was Vincent, Tifa, and Sephiroth, and then Cloud was a separate piece. At first, you could only get him with the bike, and then they went ahead and released him without the bike. And then they also have a set that is just from the game that isn't designed after the movie.
Okay.
So I have Cloud, Aerith, and then they released 3 more. They released Vincent, Yuffie, and Red 13. And I wanted Red 13 so bad.
Yeah, I would too.
Now, these things aren't cheap. They're like almost $40 to $50 per figure. More so when they stop producing them, or once they reach a certain point where they sell out their stock, they don't really make any more. So then the prices just go up. Now, when I was going to go get Red 13, I waited like a year too late.
Uh-oh.
And Red 13 was at $120 just for him.
Holy shit.
And Red 13, he came with Kate Sith that sat on his back. Now, they're modeled after the game, but that's what happened in the movie, So I'm like, that's awesome. I want that so bad. And then it was $120. Now, Nate, I can't bring myself to pay $120 for a toy that I'm going to open and then display. Because that's how I had them displayed. I had them open.
Well, yeah.
But then I kept digging and going to different sites. And, oh, hey, it's only $110 on this site. Oh, joy, And then I finally found one. $90 for all 3.
Really?
Vincent, Yuffie, and Red. Now, I only really wanted Red. I already had a Vincent. I had the Advent Children Vincent. And I didn't really care to have Yuffie. But I wanted Red so bad that I paid the $90 because in my head, I'm like, well, it's $30 a figure. I'll do it. So I got it. And then I just saw, I've been out of that game for so long. I think I also have Squall and Renoa from FF8. And after that, I was done. They of course, they've made some pretty cool Iron Man variants. I'm not sure if you've seen any of those.
Mm-hmm.
They look badass. They've done some Batman ones that are really cool. And then, of course, they've also made ones for Mass Effect, which I just saw on Amazon that Commander Shepard is like $20, so I'll be buying him probably Christmas time. So I'll have a Commander Shepard just standing over there looking badass. However, they released Barrett from Advent Children.
Uh-oh.
And he's got interchangeable hands. He's got his gun. He's got his robot arm, And I want that motherfucker, but he's like $80.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to pay the money. It's like, and then thankfully, I don't have my figure set out anymore. In the old game room, they were out,
Yeah.
but back here, there's not enough room, and so they're not out anymore. Thankfully, they're not. I'm not looking at them every day because I'm afraid that if they were still sitting up there, and every time I went to go play, I would look over to my right, and there they would be. They would be looking at me, going, "We need our black friend. We need Barrett."
Bring us
Like,
Barrett, Brando.
like, I know, man. I know. And then next thing I know, here I would be like, video game collector and dad, other stuff to spend my money on. Here I am buying this $90 figure.
Piece of plastic.
Yeah, piece of plastic for me to open out of the box. I'm not the guy that leaves the shit in the box because
Now, have you thought
some
about going and looking on eBay for like out of box figures?
you know what? I could do that, but it does. See, doing that worries me because then you have to trust people to include everything.
True.
Especially when there's interchangeable hands and there's small parts. Now, I'm also the crazy guy that back in 2006 was trying to buy Beast Wars parts.
Awesome.
But I was like there's just a box of like random stuff because I didn't have a part to some parts to some of them anymore, and I'm like looking through like big boxes of like random parts that are selling for $30, and I'm like, hey, there's a spider legs for Transmetal Tarantulas. I need that.
I actually have a funny story that ties directly in with what you just said you did, because for $15 I bought a binder of Pokemon cards, about half of which I had, but the other half I didn't and I really needed, so $15, not bad.
Yeah. Okay. So I never actually won one of those
Damn.
auctions. I did get caught up in a bidding war, which is what made me quit eBay altogether.
Oh
So
no.
I almost paid $70 for a box of random parts, and then I lost, and I got mad that I lost, and then like the next day I realized what I almost won, and I like it sold for like $80, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to quit.
That's a little ridiculous.
I would have hated myself so bad, but it's that competition, especially when it really like because it was always it was down to the wire. Me and this other guy were trying to get it, or no, there were three of us. And I bowed out after 70, and those guys kept going.
Damn.
And
Do you get in on any of those subscription boxes, like a Loot Crate or Nerd Block, or?
There are times where I've thought about it, but ultimately I've never actually spent money on it. I do have a couple of items that friends have given me. Like I have the Tribble from Star Trek. I've got I actually still have Rob's copy of Ready Player One, which, oddly enough, we had a nice conversation with MC Lars about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that.
That was when we met him in the green room at VillainsCon, and we had that big like ADD ridden conversation that went everywhere within like 10 minutes. It was crazy. But yeah, we had a nice little probably 30-second conversation about it. That's about as long as any conversation lasted.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. I got a couple things like around, but I don't really feel the need. Every once in a while I'll see somebody open one. I'm like, oh, that's a badass shirt. And the next shirt, I'm like, I'm glad I never bought that.
Is the floor open?
Floor's open.
All right, I need to say a thing.
Uh-oh, angry Nate?
A little bit. And it's time to roast some motherfuckers, because this is the mood I'm in right now. And I just want you to understand, Brando, why I want to let people know what I'm about to let people know. Don't waste your money on any subscription box. Buy Funko. Don't buy Legion of Collectors. Don't waste your time on Marvel Collector Corps. Don't spend money on the Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty box. Don't spend money on any of those things. And do you want to know why, Brando?
Because what they say is exclusive ends up being non-exclusive?
No, that is not true. Actually, everything that has been exclusive to any of their boxes have remained 100% exclusive, and they have just, I will say, in that one regard, they're good. If it says exclusive, it's exclusive. However, and this is the big however, okay? You know as well as I know that there is a vast majority of pop vinyl collectors that keep things in box. You keep yours in box.
You know what? After all that crap about me saying I open my games and I open all my figures, yeah, I don't really open my pops.
Because they just display so nice in the box. They really do.
some people, like, when I see some people who have them just sitting out, it just seems like, well, that's all they do is stand there anyway.
Yeah.
At least with my figures, like, I could pose them in certain ways that I want them to be posed, or I can have Sephiroth holding a sword badassly and, acting like he's poking Eris in the butt or something,
Exactly. Or doing dirty expose pictures. Shout out to you, Tony. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
With the FFs. Anyways, okay, so listen. I had Marvel Collector Corps for the first year. I had the DC Legion of Collectors for the first 2 boxes. I have had, as a gift from Sarah for Christmas, I've had Smuggler's Bounty since it dropped, so I've almost had it a year. The next box will be the year. And, here's the thing that bums me out, Brando. I am in box. I am an inbox collector. I do like to collect them in box. I also like my boxes to look nice. Funko now has a policy. If you have one of their subscription boxes and your pop comes in damaged, too fucking bad. They expect you to take them out of the box. They literally have said, we don't give a fuck that there's a huge community of people that keep these things in box. We don't care that box quality matters. If it comes in damaged, just do what we want you to do anyways and take it out of the box.
So what you're telling me is that their business has grown so much. I mean, one of the biggest distributors of pops that I've seen are some FYE stores.
Yes.
Like, they are insane. I went to a mall down in Castleton. This is like right above Indy, and I was in there, and there was a wall full, like, how like the Discreet Plan Hammond has that. It was like that, but it was actually, they had that, and then they had a whole stand in the middle where they were all just piled up. So it was like even more so, and that they've grown so much that they feel like they can no longer appease that market, because while there is a market of people who are inbox collectors, now the market of open box is more so. So if they want to keep their shit going, they're just saying, all right, we're done. We're just going to keep, pushing these out. And if the box is damaged in the store, you could just try and find a better box, but they're not going to give 2 craps. That really sucks as far as the collector stuff, because since you said that stuff is all exclusive, you can't go and FYE and find whatever comes in your collector core box.
Nope.
And so
it literally
that sucks.
It literally says fuck you to their fans, because I'm serious, man. Listen, if I'm spending $31.95 a month or every other month to have this collector core box or this whatever box, when my pops arrive, I just want them to look nice. I paid for stuff to look nice. If I went to fucking Best Buy and bought a bunch of shit and my TV came in and there was a big fucking hole in it, they wouldn't go, we delivered it that way. We expected you to know that might be a thing that happened. That's not acceptable. If I spend my hard-earned dollars for something, you give me the product that I think is deserving of my money. And I think that's what bothers me, is they're saying, we don't care. We'll just cancel your subscription. They've done that for people. I don't pursue it. I figured out how to fix boxes without having to fuck with them anymore. But and yes, this is more a rant for other people, less for me, because while I care, I can fix these fucking things. They're not that big of a deal. But to me, it's the principle of the matter. It's the principle that other people have said, hey, we're not cool with this, Funko. Can you just hook us up and give us a new box? And they're like, okay, we'll do that. But we're actually just going to cancel your subscription. Have a nice day. And they do that to people. People show emails on the different, forums and stuff saying, hey, they just straight up canceled my fucking subscription and they didn't even care. They're openly saying, we don't need your money. That's when it starts to get scary, I'm pretty sure T.Y. Beanie Baby kind of got that way, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, they got too big. That's exactly what I was saying. They got too big. They're now too big for the niche collector. I mean, to an extent, I can't blame them. but because it's hard to make sure that every single thing that you put out. I would think that if you're gonna have a box set subscription box, that you are gonna take care and make sure that everything in that box gets to that person in good condition. Maybe the outside of the box can get banged up, but the contents of the inside of the box
Exactly.
should definitely be up to par in quality standard. It's very disappointing.
It really is. Uh, I was thinking, man, do they have anything, and maybe you know this, do they have anything for retro game collectors where, like, you sign up for something, like a subscription box, and they send you 5 random retro titles to keep?
They do, um, but it's like 30. It's over $30 a month, and you list them what genres that you're into, and you're not guaranteed those genres even though you list them.
That's weird.
I mean, they're gonna try and give you what you're into, but I mean, if they're sitting there and they're gonna give you 3 or 4 games, and like you said, you didn't click sports because you don't like to play sports games, but they're looking at, they're like, all right, we're gonna throw you this game and this game and this game, and then they're looking around at like the other stuff that they're going to be putting in the boxes, and like, all right, you get Bulls versus Blazers. Um, it, I've never deemed it as like, to me, man. I mentioned how like nostalgia is one thing for collecting retro games, but also, man, it's the hunt. It's that hunt. I love going out with a pocket full of money and going, what am I going to come home with?
And
Or,
having no plan.
yeah, having no plan. But see, now it's like, okay, I'm coming up, so I'm going to go to that store, right? We're going to go to that store and we're going to check it out. I can't spend a whole lot of money. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for specific games. I'm looking for Final Fantasy V Advanced. I'm looking for Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 or Dragon Warrior 3 on Game Boy Color. And I'm looking for something that I can afford. I'm not going to go up there and I'm not going to buy Mario Kart 64 for $40 up there when I know how much it goes for down here. Because up there it could be even more for all I know, because your Pokemon games are more expensive up there for some reason. So I already know what I'm going to come home with. And I know that going into that store up there is really cool because you're going to see N-Gage games. You're going to see TurboGrafx stuff. You're going to see import games. So your Super Famicom and your Mega Drive stuff. You're going to see a lot more Saturn stuff and Dreamcast stuff up there. Stuff, and maybe even Atari Jaguar stuff that isn't down here. But I know I'm not going to come home with that stuff because, number one, I don't have all those systems. And number two, I'm not going to buy those systems right now if I can't actively collect for them. So I already know in my head going up there that I'm probably not going to spend any money up there. And because the last time I went, I was very disappointed. And I think I only bought 2 games. I think in fact, I want to say I only did buy, like, I went up there with like $100 and something, and I only spent 60 of it. No, because I want to say one of them was like 40 and one of them was like 8, and I think so. So I think it was about $50. So I came home with like $60 in my pocket.
You also got to remember, last time we game hunted, you had Wyatt on you.
I did, but that didn't affect like what I bought.
No. Well, obviously it didn't affect what you bought, but it did affect the amount of time you were looking. I know that, at least for me, when I'm in a place, and actually Disc Replay is a great example. We were there to drop off a flyer for our next show. We were there, and the girls went over to Ulta, and they left me there, and all of a sudden I was thinking about spending money I didn't have. Like, it trapped me. The longer I stood in there, the more I was like, fuck, I really should consider buying this Pokemon Red. And then you told me that prices are extravagant up here. That you could get like a Pokemon Blue on Game Boy for like $8 down there, and it's $29.99 here.
I'm pretty sure that it did go up. Last time I saw it was actually the weekend that you were down.
Oh,
I saw it the day before you were down, and it was $8. I actually went back there to buy that. In fact, I went there to buy 2 games, Metroid 2 and Pokemon Blue. Pokemon Blue's already gone. Somebody snagged that up.
damn.
But, it's like what you said about Wyatt. I actually looked at stuff multiple times. And, I looked at section like it's sometimes at that store it's difficult because they have so much and you have to try and absorb it. But I looked at each section like 4 times before we left, and that was wearing Wyatt.
That's true.
It just got to a point of they didn't have anything that I wanted or B, anything that I could afford. Because even though I had $120, however much I had, it's seriously like they had a couple games in there that were like $200. Like, I'm not going to happen, pal. I'm not going to go into a store, and I'm a retro game collector. I'm not going to go into a store and track down a game that's $200. I don't care if it's Mega Man X3.
Hey,
you know what
that's
I want
up
to
here.
do? It is. I know, because you just sent me a picture of it the other day. And that's cool that it's there. And it was in that bit box, so I know the owner took care of it. That's awesome. I'm not going to pay $200 for that. I don't care that much about Mega Man X3. What I care about and what would be awesome is if I was out garage selling and I found it for $1.
I have a question about that too. If you were out garage selling and you found it for $1, would you say anything to the person?
No.
Awesome. You're like me.
No.
I think it's really weird when people like, oh, don't you know this is worth a bunch of money? Why am I only going to give you $1? No, shut the fuck up and buy it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Somebody who's doing that is trying to get rid of it, okay? I'll be more than happy to take it off their hands. I'm not going to I want to get stuff for as cheap as I can get it. Now, okay, if this is somebody that I knew, okay? Like say like you, Nate, were saying, "Brando, I've got Mega Man X3 here. Do you want it?" I'm going to say, "Well, sure. I'm not paying $200 for it." Okay, I'm not going to say, how about $20? I'm not going to rip you off. You're my friend. You are somebody I know. If it's somebody at a garage sale, I have no idea who this person is. I'm not going to tell them it's worth $200.
Fuck no.
If they didn't do their research, because number one, it's a freaking garage sale. If they want to get money out of it, they could take it to a store. Or they could try eBay and get money out of it. This is a garage sale. Who in their right mind, Nate, is going to walk up there with $200 saying, "I want that game for $200"?
No one.
Or like, no one's going to buy that damn game. So when you're thinking about a garage sale, you're thinking about clearing out. Sometimes if there's no game sitting out, you should say, "Do you guys have any old video games?" Nintendo. Always start with Nintendo, even if you're not looking for Nintendo. Because when they think old games, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation. Once you start going to, and even go through Game Boys and say Nintendo and then say Game Boy separately, because, you have to think. Some people who have this, it doesn't resonate with people that a Game Boy is inherently Nintendo.
Correct.
Or, they think Nintendo is Nintendo. And then you have to say Sega. Don't just say Genesis, say Sega. Because people know that as Sega, and PlayStation. Don't call it PS1. You think they're going to know what PS1 is? No, PlayStation. Tell them PlayStation. Because to a lot of people, PS2 is still PlayStation. Garage selling is a completely different beast and animal. If I'm going through a garage sale and there's a box of stuff there, now I do have somewhat of a conscience, but no way, man. I'm not going to turn that down. And, like there was somebody at work, they were going to have a garage sale. And she said, "Hey, I got this Game Gear with with some games." And I looked up to how much a Game Gear was worth and how much some of those games were worth. And one of those games happened to be a little bit expensive, But it also depended because I saw it selling for like $40, but then I also saw it selling for $5. So it's obvious that this game the margin is definitely there. Do I think it sells for $5? Sure, probably. It's a damn puzzle game. I don't necessarily think that it's going to sit there and always take. If somebody lists it for $40 and there are 5 copies on eBay, I don't think people are going to go straight for the $40 one. So I came back with a flat offer of $20. She brought it in. It doesn't work. So then she tells me I can just keep it. No charge. Because then when I did the research to figure out how much it was going to cost me to fix it, it was going to be about $15 to fix the damn thing, to get all the new capacitors in. Because apparently Game Gears were built very cheaply, and the capacitors leak and go bad. So she goes, just keep it. So I got all those games. I got like 6 games, and I got the Game Gear for free. Although I can't play any of them, and I need to spend the money for the kit, and I need to fix it. Now, could I have told her that one game that she has sometimes may sell for $20 to $40, maybe, depending on the day of market, depending on when you post it, depending on how many copies are up? I could have done that. However, she told me any price is fair. It was a garage sale item. And so what I did, since I know her, I just said, okay, here's 6 games. Here's a system. I know how much a system goes for. It goes for about $15. There's about 6 games there. We'll go $1 a game, $20. How you feel about that? He said, that's fine with me. We made a deal. Veronica. Okay, Veronica was selling that, like all that big Sega Genesis lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know how much a Sega goes for down here. It might go from a little bit more up north, and I know how much some of those games go for. And then she said, like we were just talking, and I just threw an offer out. And honestly, like when you haggle, you start a little low. Every time I do that, I always go a little low. I don't go too low. If we're haggling, it's different, because this isn't a garage sale. She's not sitting out in a garage, and I'm not standing there saying, how much you want for that Genesis and games, right? Because at that point, if they're in the garage, she already has a price on them, right?
Yep.
She's like, I want, a set amount of money. I threw out a price first. I threw out $50, thinking I don't want to pay any more than $70, $75 for this stuff. She took $50. Am I going to tell her? Actually, I was going to take, my top offer is $75. Am I going to tell her that?
Well, you just did. I mean.
Well, yeah, if she hears this, but my top offer is going to be $75. But but do you start there?
No.
Because then, if your top offer is $75, and she suddenly thinks, "Oh, this is the first offer. How about $90?" And I come back with, "Actually, I can't go any more than that." So it all depends, dude. It really depends. When she had those Nintendo games, and she said $100, I said deal, because I knew in there. I didn't look a lot of the stuff up until afterwards, but I knew this game is worth this much. This game goes this much down here. Sure, that seems like a really good deal. I didn't even make another offer, but that's it. It kind of varies, and I'm not sure if any other collecting thing is as kind of radical as that. Because if you go to a garage sale and someone's selling comic books, there's a chance that you're going to get some pretty cool comics pretty cheap. Because I don't think someone's going to be out there with the first issue Spider-Man. He's going to be like, I want $500 for this issue. Dude, it's a garage sale. What are you doing?
If he had the first Spider-Man for $500, I'd sell my left nut. I'm just saying, that's a deal. That's like,
I'm just saying. Honestly, that shows how much I don't know how much stuff goes for in the comic world. But to the same token, it's at a garage sale. What is he doing?
Use your brain.
What guy's gonna walk up with 500 bones going, I'm looking for Spider-Man #1. You got it right here, man. $500. Hey, I just happen to have that same amount of money on me.
That's exactly what I expected you to say.
Yeah, no. I don't garage sale as much as I probably should start doing. But the one time I went, I've only bought one game from a garage sale. And I didn't haggle. They had the price on it. And it was Deadpool on the 360.
Nice.
And when I bought it, that game was still going for $25 to $30.
$5.
And I got it for $3.
Yes.
They just had a sticker on it, $3. I said, yep. Because I knew how much it was worth.
Yeah.
Apparently they were just wanting to get rid of it. So, and honestly, what I should have done was ask, do you have any more? But that's the only game they had out. I think they had that, and they had some trash DS game. But I went away with it. I wasn't going to say, hey, did you know that if you took this in down the street to discreet play, you'd probably get like maybe $7 for it? I didn't say that because they're saying, here, you want this for $3? And I said, yes.
Of course,
So
I would like that deal.
If they said, hey, here's a complete in box Earthbound for $10, you want this? Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Here you go.
Is the
See you
strategy
later.
guide with it? Good.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna do that.
Running out the door.
But if it's Nate, if it's my homie, and he goes, dude, I came across this. I really want you to have it, but I mean, it goes for like $800, and I'm gonna be like, I can't pay that. Let's work out a deal. And I'm pretty sure that if we were really gonna do that, we could work something out, and you're gonna be happy with the deal, and I'm gonna be happy with the deal.
Duh.
It's just the same. It was the same with Veronica. I offered out a deal, she was happy with it, so she accepted it. You know, it was like there was one time there was a girl that I was working with. She had some Vita stuff. She wanted to get into the Vita. She had it for like a week. Said, I'm taking it back. But these games, I can't take them back. Do you want them? And I think I wanted 2 of them. And I said, I could take 2 of them. I can't. Like at the time, I was very tight on money. It's like I can't. Like I could. So for the 2 of them, I said, I'll pay you like $20 for the 2 of them, and then you're gonna have to take the rest of them and trade them in or take them whatever. She goes, okay. So then I came into work with $20, and she brought in all, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 games. And I'm like, I only have to $20. She goes, just take them. I'm like, no. And she just shoved them in my hand. She goes, I want you to have them. And I'm like, damn it. Because really, for the 2 games I was buying, $20 was probably, I bet the games probably sold retail for about 30, maybe 25. It really depended. I want to say it was Uncharted Golden Abyss, and I can't remember what the other one was. But but that's retail. So then, when you're dealing with somebody, it's like, do you want to pay retail prices? Because I could just go to the store right now and pay $30 for both of them. I mean, it's always about trying to get a deal that you're happy with and a deal that they're happy with. And obviously, if someone at a garage sale is slapping $3 on Mega Man X3, they're happy with it.
Get it into my hands.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, that.
So I'm telling that story about that girl because I felt bad taking that from her because she was a friend, and this isn't what we negotiated. And I wanted to say that because I'm not entirely heartless, but I mean that's what made her happy in the deal. So I did take them, and they're in my collection.
Yeah, but she knows you're not turning it around, Brando. She realizes that it's something you love, and you're not turning it around trying to make money on it. It's not like you turned around as soon as she handed you those 5 games and capitalized on them. You have them in your collection.
Flipped. I've never flipped. I think the only time I've ever done anything, I think I had like 5 duplicates at one point, and I took some of those in to trade in for some credit to trade towards something I wanted. That's another thing is like, I know you said that you bought like a whole binder of Pokemon cards for half the cards. I have not bought any bulk purchases for that one. Like some people go on eBay and they'll buy a whole box of Game Boy Advance games for that one game that they saw in there, and the price that they're paying for the full lot means that this $40 or $50 game they're essentially paying like $6 for or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just going to trade and sell the rest. Man, I tell you what, I don't have the space for those extra games. I don't have the time to go trade those games away. I tell you what, I still have some duplicates hidden away somewhere. The reason I still have them is because my stores won't take them because they're games that they just have too many of.
Sports games.
Actually, Halo 3.
Oh, I love Halo 3.
I have a duplicate of Halo 3, and nobody will take it because they have way too many of them because everyone's turning in their 360 stuff because, it's all about the Xbox One now. So people trading in all their stuff and all their games, and that was a game that sold a lot of units. It was the same with Guitar Hero. Back in the day, Guitar Hero was, it took forever for the value to drop, and now there's so many of them out there that you buy them for $1, $2,
Super easy, yep.
And now, if you have them and you're trying to get rid of them, good luck, because they have way too many of them.
Brando, I love our conversations about collecting, by the way.
You have to really be into collecting or have a good mind for it, because we can sit here and riff on it for like 40 minutes, but it's not really. I mean, I can understand why a third person in this conversation that isn't into collecting and just wants to hear like the entertainment news is not going to be very enthralled with it.
It's okay. We're going to make that up to them right now when we're going to rapid fire the entertainment news. Right now, I'm just going to say things, and then you're going to say things back. And it's going to be quick. We're going to try not to tangent ourselves too long. We have another podcast we get to do next that will only be exclusive to the YouTube. Journey into Motherfucking Comics. Don't search that. Just search Journey into Comics. You'll find us. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. It'll be great. So to start, Brando, one of the prop guys for Doctor Strange didn't really let slip. I mean, we all kind of assumed it was going to be the case, but officially made it known that the Eye of Agamotto, I hate to say that, the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange will have an Infinity Stone inside of it. So probably the Reality Stone, I would go to guess. Or maybe the Time Stone. Could be either or. Maybe it's the Brandon Stone. Who knows? Excited for November 4th. We're going to get to finally see. That's going to be a really busy fucking weekend for Journey into Comics, by the way. The weekend of November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Because November 4th, Doctor Strange comes out. November 6th, MC Lars, Mega Ran, and MC Chris will be at Danville's Villains Con. We're going to be talking to those guys, I do believe. So that'll be exciting. But, Brando, are you excited for Doctor Strange? Okay, good. Moving on.
I mean, it is what it is. I have a tendency to get, like, underhyped after being hyped, after, like, seeing the trailers and liking it. I want to say, like, probably the last movie that I ever got hyped to go see was Star Wars, and that was a movie that the hype didn't go away as the date got closer. It only, like, it got higher and higher. The comic book movies, I get really excited when they're coming up, and then when they start getting closer, I stop caring until I go see them.
And then you're like, oh, that was good, or oh, that was shitty, or oh, that wasn't bad. You know? It could be better.
Right, you know, comic book movies are really a mixed bag. You know, to anyone saying that DC only puts out crap and Marvel's the best, dude, there's some pretty shit Marvel stuff out there.
Iron Man 3, just saying.
Iron Man 3, Thor 2.
I didn't hate The Dark World. Incredible Hulk was pretty bland. I liked Ed Norton, but I digress.
You know, and I mean, like, the more I think about it, the more I think, man, Civil War was all right, but
I'm gonna rewatch it really soon because I have it now. So.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. See, that's the thing, is that I'm somebody that I can go see a movie and I can enjoy it without being a super fan of it. You know? Like, even if, like, we did the show and I said my review of it, and I want to say my review was like, it was higher than BVS at the time. I want to say I gave BVS like a 7, and then this was like an 8 maybe.
I think that sounds right.
You know, I mean, I kind of think it suffered from the same problems, and that's my opinion. But I kind of feel like it, you know, Civil War was not that great, you know, at the end of the day. And the more I think about it, the more negative I'm on that. And what's funny is that on the flip side, the more I thought about it, and the more, since I've seen it again, the more I did like BVS, even though it still has its flaws. But I know those flaws are there. You know, it's like on your second viewing, now that I know the flaws of Civil War are there, I might like it more.
Or less.
You know, or less. You know, maybe, just maybe, now that I know that those flaws are there, it'll bug me. I kind of thought that was going to be the case with BVS, but since I knew those flaws were there, I could, you know, kind of just go with it. And since I watched the extended version, but which didn't really help the movie by much, but it's just, I don't get so hyped, man. Movies are touch and go, because there are times where I'm all about wanting to see the new movies, and then, like, I'm just like, meh. And especially now with a kid, man, I tell you what.
It's hard to
get
do
out.
it. Yeah. It's
I
hard
want to
for you.
say Civil War was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Hey, you're a new dad? Kinda? I mean, you're
Oh
you're
man,
you're in.
I've been doing this for a little while. It's just all about trying to find somebody to like, hey, come watch our kid while we go have fun.
But hey, Riverdale, I don't know. That's a show on CW, Brando.
I
You have no
saw
idea
this.
about this.
No, I saw this news article before you even put this down on the rundown.
Oh, nice.
Because I saw it today. Because what I did is I before you came up with a rundown, I did cruise around some headlines a little bit, just maybe get an idea. And I saw this, but I have no idea what the show is. I don't know what's going on, but I know the actor. So
Well, and that's why I brought it up, because obviously you love Jericho. I love Jericho. It was a dope-ass show. Good comic. I have your comic still sitting right next to me, kind of,
yep,
sort
a
of.
camcorder too.
It's sitting next to me too, man.
I need that back,
I'll just grab both those things and hand them to you on Friday.
and I will hopefully remember to bring them with me. You still have my Metal Gear novel,
That's at Dad's. I can grab that tomorrow too.
and you still have my Cliff Burton book.
And that's sitting right next to me too.
Is it really?
Yeah. Dude,
Awesome.
I keep all your stuff nice, man. I knew I had your things. I've just been waiting. I've been not reading Metal Gear, to be quite honest. I forgot all about that book. It just kind of sat in Dad's house for forever.
I
But
remember it was on the back of the toilet for a long time.
yeah.
Maybe your dad read it.
Maybe he might have. He might all of a sudden know about the first Metal Gear game more than I know. He did like that song we wrote.
Oh yeah.
But you like Jericho, I like Jericho. Skeet Ulrich, it wasn't Jericho. He's the lead of Jericho. He might play Jughead's dad. Jughead is from Archie Comics. And I think Riverdale is like essentially the Archie TV show comic book. I haven't watched it, so I honestly don't know. But I saw the headline, and I thought it was a cool little crossover. You like Jericho, I like Jericho, and that's all I have to say about it.
Well, let's hope he doesn't get killed. The last show that Skeet was on, he got killed a couple episodes in.
He's also in Scream, I guess, the MTV show.
Well, I mean, he was in the original movie. Skeet was one of the leads on Law and Order LA. And after they did a few episodes, like Law and Order is pretty bad about this, but they will actually like get feedback and they'll adjust the show midway through. So like the guy that was playing the DA, that's Dr. Otto Octavius from Spider-Man 2.
Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina, yeah, I couldn't remember his name, but I know what he's in. In fact, weirdly enough, because this is Law and Order for you, he was in Law and Order SVU as like a child molester, and then he's in Law and Order LA as like a DA, but they're two different characters. So figure that one out. But it was like episode 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it was. It was only a couple episodes in. Here's like Skeet Ulrich, one of the detectives, gets shot and killed in his home, and then the DA, like, I'm stepping down to be a detective. So now he was one of the detectives on the show. I mean, that's because I guess Skeet's character wasn't testing well with people who were watching the show. I mean, the show only went like one season anyway. So, but yeah, poor guy just has terrible luck. You know, Jericho was really good, and it got canceled. He didn't even get a chance in Law and Order LA, and now he's on this show. Hopefully, he doesn't die.
Okay. Yeah, let's hope he doesn't die. Hey, Scott Snyder has a Justice Society story he wants to write. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. So obviously Scott Snyder hit the fucking ball so far out of the park, he might have homered it out of 2 ballparks next to each other when he wrote the original New 52 Batman. Okay, he did the Court of Owls, Death of the Family. I mean, the whole, we could just go for days about how great his run on Batman was, but what is interesting is he really wants to do a Justice Society story, and he says here he does have a JSA story in mind. Someone asked him if that was something he was really, interested in, as like maybe a passion project, and he said, yes, I would love to write for some of those characters. So he didn't say which version officially, but he did say he does have something he'd like to do with those characters, and I think that's super awesome. I'd read it if Scott Snyder wrote it. I'll read it most likely 10 out of 10 times because he's phenomenal. But
Question.
Answer. Go ahead.
All right, so this may or may not be appropriate, and I might get some negative flack for this. But this is just sort of like my thoughts, okay? These are like rolling thoughts that I'm going with.
Sure.
So when you have comic book writers who didn't create the characters,
Okay.
is this almost like authorized fan fiction?
You know, you're not wrong. And especially, I mean, think about this era, Brando. Let's just, for example, you're a great writer. If I gave you the reins and said, here's the key to the kingdom, write Batman, you would bring out all the stops and all the shit you wanted to see, you would want to do. You'd have literally, you got to think, that's kind of how Hush came along. Mm-hmm. Being given the keys to the kingdom and saying, play with this world and see what you come up with. And that, once in a lifetime opportunity. So with you saying, is this like authorized fanfic? Fuck yeah, it is. But in the best way, because these are guys who have been in the industry, who have worked their way up. And at some point they get the break and they get the call from DC or Marvel and they say, hey man, it's time. You're going to write Amazing Spider-Man, or you're going to write Batman, or you're going to write fucking The Flash or whatever. And when you get that opportunity, you do one of two things. You fucking run with it and the fans adore you, or you fucking fumble it. And Scott Snyder ran with the ball. He's kicking ass over there at DC. Dan Slott, personally, I think he fucking ruined Spider-Man. But that's just my opinion.
The best part about the comic world is that it can be retconned.
Exactly. It can all change in the blink of a fucking eye. In a blink of a multiverse.
I was writing a fanfic a long time ago for Final Fantasy VIII. I had a 5-part story. So 5 different stories, you'd have basically 5 books, if you will. I had a 5-part story extending that whole storyline.
Damn.
And I think I was early into part 1, and apparently in fan fiction there's like a lot of rules where you have to keep the characters totally in character and you can't change anything about them. But I was of the mind that in FF8 they're all teenagers, so they're not yet who they're going to be.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like some of the characters didn't really dive into some of their what could be problems, since FF8's story is focused a lot onto the narrative of the love story between Squall and Renoa, even though that only starts it comes out of nowhere almost. So I made a character, and I do apologize for tangenting and people who don't know the character. His name is Zell. He's very overzealous, very over animated, very hyperactive. And I'm thinking, somebody who is like that has a tendency to have a very dark and sad side to them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe I can have that kind of come out a little bit more, since it didn't really come out in the game. You don't really see that. They don't go into. He's always very angry. He's very flareable, And I'm like, but what if we actually see him start to crack a little bit? And I started doing that, and I got reprimanded for that by people who were some people who were reading it. As somebody who was like, I don't think you meant that, and because I had him show some emotion where he's sitting there with his head in his hand, he's grief stricken, or if he was really sad, and or distraught, whereas this person was thinking he would be pacing around and getting mad and wanting to punch the wall. And I'm like, well, yes, he normally would when other people are watching him. But sometimes when he's alone, he doesn't feel that way. He actually feels the opposite. And this certain situation is causing him to feel this way, except people are starting to see it. And then so I didn't even get a chance to explain, and people were for people to see that this character was going to have this arc where it was going to delve deeper into his emotional state. And I just got so discouraged by that. I never wrote another chapter of that because of that.
Man, that's such bullshit. That's also like internet trolls, you know? I mean, it's just.
And
Look, I've known you for a long time. Anytime you've written and I've read it, I've always been a fan. That's lyrically, that's in any kind of literature, that's any kind of stories, any kind of ideas. You have a very elaborate brain and you put things together in such a way that it ties everything up nicely and it's also unexpected. So, just friend to friend, not co host to co host, you need to get back into kicking ass and writing because I think that's where your your you can come out the most.
well, and I really appreciate that. And the thing is that I can be very. I have so many things going on in my head at once that I can be very discouraged on a project or on something very, very quickly. And so, to be fair, this person that said this wasn't being a troll. She was just being very tight with the rules, I guess. And these are rules I didn't even know. I just thought, hey, let's go write some stuff. And I had a lot of ideas, and I was really excited about. You know how they did FF10-2 and they had an extension. They did other stuff with the Final Fantasy VII universe.
Yeah.
I felt like eight was the one where a lot of the characters just they didn't have a whole lot of development past a certain point in the game. It's like they establish who they are, and they sort of there's a lot of problems narratively with that. How they just sort of like, oh yeah, they were all kids and they grew up together. Once you get to that point, there is no other development with these characters. Then it shifts and then it focuses on their Squall Renoa dynamic that to some people doesn't really, and me included, at times doesn't even make sense as to why these two characters all of a sudden out of the blue are into each other, and even from the main character standpoint, it doesn't even he's just like, what? She likes me, and all of a sudden he's in love with her. Well, I mean, but they're teenagers, and I can kind of see how it would be weird and out of the blue and oh, I like him. But that's also why I thought it would be cool to establish who these characters were, because my 6-part story or 5-part, however many it ended up being, was actually going to carry them into their 20s and was going to finish off with them this is their role in this world. They're now adults. This is them grown up. Squall isn't just a brooding, angsty teenager anymore. He's a leader. He is more open with his friends. Zell had problems being an orphan, and he was really well taken care of. But I mean, as you kind of said earlier, how much a divorce can mess up a kid and mess with their mental state. How would being raised by someone who isn't your family and always not knowing who your family is, how would that not have something deep in your heart where everyone sees you as this happy-go-lucky guy, but that's not that is you, but that's a segment of you that you dial up to 11 to keep people at bay. And I wanted to search that and get into that so much, and to have this person be like, no, you didn't keep them in character. And it's like, but why does that have to dictate who that character is? That's why I wonder, when you talked about other people who write comics and how good of a job Snyder did, and this other guy comes in and does Spider-Man and does a bad job, it's like they are authorized by the company to take a character a certain way, to do something new with Bruce Wayne. After 70, 80, 90 years, how can you do something new with Bruce Wayne, but they still keep finding new stuff to do? But people accept that because it's official. But then if you take something like fan fiction, people don't accept that as much. It has to be tied to the original. It can't be, you can't alter this, you can't take this, you can't change this. And man, that just limits creativity. It's like I have, that's why I quit, because I'm like, I am not going to sit here and I was, and wait for them to go 10 chapters to see that's what he meant. Part of me wished that back then that I would have did that, but at the same time, I would have to be sitting there every chapter, and then people oh, you didn't keep this guy in character.
Drilling, yeah.
His character's changing. He's not an adult yet. Jesus, man, I wonder if some of these guys that do the comics, if they're saying, I want to do so and so with Robin, with Nightwing, if they have to sit there with the powers that be and convince them on it, or if the writers are just given the free reign.
I know with Scott Snyder, and I know his story because he was on Fat Man on Batman. Shout out to Kevin Smith. That, you know, he wrote a lot of his own stuff, and, you know, at one point was asked to do like a lot of DC comics have a little like 3 or 4 page extra comic in the back of the comic, which is like a little offshoot story that might not necessarily be directly with the storyline, but loosely involves the characters that the storyline's talking about. And Scott Snyder started writing on those, and it got so good in the back of Detective Comics, they were almost forced to put him in the role of the guy writing Batman because his Batman stories with very little Batman were so captivating, you know? And they were like, shit, like, give him the reins and just let him do his thing. And he, right out of the gate, he had no fear, and he told him, he's like, I'm going to literally shake Batman to its core. I'm going to do something that makes it seem like it's always been there, and it's new. And it's going to seem like it's been there the whole time. And that's my plan. He did Court of Owls, and you read Court of Owls, right?
I did not.
You did not? Oh, man. I might have the Court of Owls graphic novel laying around somewhere. I know I do. Let me find that. I'll find that by Friday, and I want you to take it with you and read it. You need to read it. Seriously. It's so good. Yes.
Well, I promise I won't keep it as long as you've kept my Jericho.
I think it's just inconvenience because we don't really see each other all the time and we forget.
Oh, I know, dude. I know. I mean, actually, it's like I actually don't know where it is. I know it's with like because we put all our movies up. They're like in boxes somewhere, like in the garage or something. You let me borrow a movie like 5 years ago, and I remember watching it. I remember falling asleep to it and go, I need to get that back to him. And then we moved, and then it never happened.
Was it the one where it was animated-y?
Yes, because you're like, hey, you like to Scanner Darkly. You like this.
Hey. You already gave that back to me.
Did I give it back to you?
Yeah, like...
see, I thought I still had it.
I'm pretty sure Adventures in Game Hunting Weekend. Because we talked about it and we had a laugh, like, whatever. You can't find that fucking thing. And then you found it and you were like, bro. Yeah, you were like, bro, I have it right here. Take it. Because I have it. It's in my bedroom right now. I could take a picture of it and send it to you as soon as we're done with this episode.
That's badass. See, and that's so funny because I didn't remember giving it back to you because I remember because I had it for so long. I remember having it, but I don't remember giving it back to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I remember like shortly after I got it from you, I put it in, and that night I fell asleep. So like, I never ended up finishing it. And then so like technically, I guess I didn't really watch the movie then if I didn't finish it, right?
Do you want to borrow it?
I'm like, no, because I had it for so long. It's like if I didn't watch it within the time frame that I had it, I'm not gonna watch it now. Well, it's like, dude, I'm not even watching watching Arrow or anything right now. So it's like it's to a what segue?
Well,
yeah,
perfect. Because I was just getting ready to say, Arrow's about to film their 100th episode, or they did just film their 100th episode. Here's some things to mention: Deathstroke was not only spotted on set, but took a picture with Stephen Amell. There's a picture with Melissa Benoist's Supergirl with Stephen Amell as Arrow full on. It seems like this 100th is going to be... It's a 100th episode of a show that's been going now for 5 seasons, 23 episodes a season. So they're at what? 4 seasons would be 92 episodes right now. So the mid-season finale episode is their 100th, which is also going to happen to be their crossover episode with The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl. So they haven't said it, but it seems to me, and I just wanted to bring this up, they're really jam-packing the 100th episode as like a love letter to the fans. Like, we know we started this universe, and we know how badass it is. but this is for you guys, you know, and I'm just really excited. I love Arrow. They have had some clunker seasons. I'm not going to pretend, and I think, unfortunately, Arrow fell into this weird place where it's a great show, but the Flash just writes so much fucking better. The Flash is just a little bit better in every way, and it's undescribable. There's something about the Flash as a whole, as the show, that just does it for me a little bit more than Arrow. So, with that being said, I'm excited, but I don't really have anything else, Brando. I know you're a little bit behind on Arrow. Maybe.
A little?
Well, you were starting in season 1 of Flash, right?
Yeah, so it was season 3 of Arrow, and then Fallout happened.
Well, there's still time. There's still hope, my friend.
Well, you know what?
I caught up to Game of Thrones. Just saying.
Well, yeah. Well, you also only had 10 episodes a season.
That is also true.
So that's a lot easier and also way more captivating and a lot less filler.
There is nothing as traumatic in Arrow as the fucking Red Wedding. Just saying. There's silence. Did you go away?
Pregnant pause.
You're like, oh shit. Brando,
I cannot wait for Game of Thrones, dude.
It's like a year away.
Oh, I know. Like, it's like, you know, am I hyped for Walking Dead? Yeah, but like, I'm not as hyped for Walking Dead as I am for Game of Thrones, because I know that we're nearing like Endgame for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So I'm hyped for Walking Dead because I want to see more Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You know, that's different, because I know that's what we're going to get. So it's like, I'm not like, oh, I'm so excited to see more, but I've already waited this long to see more. For Game of Thrones, it's like we're nearing Endgame. We only have like 2 more seasons left, and then they're not even full seasons. I want to see it all now, because not on the flip side, it's like Walking Dead's still going on, so I know that's not just going to abruptly end in 2 seasons.
Correct.
On the other hand, we still don't know how Game of Thrones is actually going to end up for like all their storylines. So,
Daenerys on the throne. Anyways, Brando, did you have anything else to add to this week's episode of Journey into Comics?
Really quick.
Sure.
Really, really, really quick. I saw that Disney has greenlit a Jon Favreau directed live-action Lion King film.
Like the Jungle Book?
Yeah, I guess so.
But with Lion King?
With Lion King.
Can I just say, like, seriously, mad respect for a lot of these companies taking old material and trying to do something different with it. Cartoons into live action is fucking terrible. Don't do it. You will never give me the same feeling as when I saw the original Lion King. In making it live action and trying to make it more real is going to take away from it for me. I can almost guarantee you I probably won't enjoy it. I will say on the super flip, that the name attached to it makes me intrigued, because Jon Favreau, as we know, he did the first Iron Man. He is Happy Hogan in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's returning as Happy Hogan, I do believe, pretty soon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think for Spider-Man Homecoming, actually.
Yes, I've heard that as well. Now, I will say that there's a few movies that can translate into live action. They are doing a Beauty and the Beast.
Wouldn't be bad.
And I believe I'm having a brain fart.
Aladdin?
Aladdin would do all right, yeah. But I mean, the same token, I can't remember her name right now. It's the girl that played Hermione Granger.
Oh, Emma
Watson.
Emma Watson, yep.
Emma Watson's playing Belle. So that's coming out. I'm not sure if that's soon or soonish next year. So that is coming out. That's a story that can be told live action. Okay. The Jungle Book, you've got the kid, and his relationship. You can do all that. Yeah, okay. With Lion King, there's like no
people.
Are you telling me that we're gonna get a Hakuna Matata number?
Yeah,
Are we gonna get that? No,
maybe. No, probably not though.
dude. I just don't see. Are they gonna do a live action Toy Story?
I was gonna ask you if you thought that would actually kind of I would maybe be interested in a live action Toy Story because it would just be stop motion.
Well,
I
I mean,
you
wouldn't
know
it
what I'm
just be
saying?
like? Wouldn't it be funny if they did a live action Toy Story where everything was still computer animated, but it just looks so like real instead of looking so cartoonish?
That would be weird. I thought you were gonna say, what if they did a live action Bugs Life? And that's a really that's a really weird one to think about, you know? Oh fuck. All right, Brando. Well, I think that wraps it for this week.
I think so too.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you in a few short days in the past, though. I've already seen you. That's bizarre. If you're listening to this in the future, it's always so difficult.
Well, obviously, if they're listening to this too far in the future, then obviously, we would have met. But this episode might not go live until after we've already met. So
Now that is possible. That is very, very possible. But if that's gonna do it, you can check us out on all the social media stuff. I know I always say it. It's facebook.com/Journey to Comics podcast. You can like us there. Journey to Comics on Instagram. You can go to JIC Podcast on the Twitter. Journey into Comics on YouTube. Check it out. All of our shows, not just Journey into Comics, are on the YouTube. So that's if you go to the YouTube and you subscribe to Journey into Comics, you're getting Journey into Comics, Game Addicts Podcast, Journey into Wrestling, which we're about to do here in a few short minutes, and Foodies Watching Movies, which all these shows will be getting episodes this week. It's a very busy week in the Journey into Comics camp. But if that's going to do it, I'm Nate.
Brando.
And we'll see you guys later.